What's up, guys? It's Grobs again with a bit of an update to the Poison Cocker video, or build, sorry, video for the build. I've been playing it for a couple of days now, kind of at my own pace. We just got into yellow maps, and I've had a lot of questions on stream about certain aspects of the build and why mine's a bit different and what I'm doing next. So I thought I'd put a bit of gameplay in the background for you guys. It's obviously not a super high tier map. But so far I've spent 15 chaos on this character, and the reason I've done that is because I've wanted to see how far we can take it before we start scaling the skill, just to show you guys how well it scales by itself. So the only item I've bought so far is a Dendrobate chest 5 link for 10 or 15 chaos. Other than that, everything I've picked up, self-found, haven't crafted anything, just kind of picked stuff up and used it as is. So the skill scale's unreal. The skill's strong enough. If anyone's worried about damage, this is why I've done this and not spent money yet. It's good. Play it. It's a bit different to Noogie's version and Cute Dog's version, but all similarities. Mine's a bit more damage than Noogie's. All good builds though. So let's get on with the questions. So someone asked me tonight about the charge generation. On the Claw Mastery in Path of Building, we can tick the node that says 6% chance to gain frenzy and power charge on kill. While I'm mapping and I'm not doing hectic high content, I've been grabbing that. You can obviously change back to the cannot be crit if enemy is poisoned later if you want. So that's a good one to do. The next one is people ask me about gearing and what I did. And like I just explained, I haven't done that much. But if I had spent money, early game I'd buy a Dendrobate, 5 or 6 link if you can. That just gives us a lot of extra damage. Just make sure you have over 300 dex to get the bonus. The duration from the int bonus is nice too, but that's not quite as necessary, so don't worry about that one too much. What I'm going to do next, and what I suggest people do if you want to go the big damage version, is work your way towards getting an Impresence Amulet with free Despair. That's going to give us so much damage, flat damage, damage over time, and the fact that we can run Blasphemy and Despair is just going to make us so much tankier. So that's what I would run next. Now, the anoint that I'm going to run is Corruption. People have been asking about this, and the reason for that is it's actually our best in slot anoint, only if we can apply Wither all the time. And I was initially skeptical that we couldn't, but we actually can. If we run Anomalous Withering Step and Divergent Poison Concoction, we pretty much always put between 8 and 14 stacks of Wither on every mob we hit. So obviously when you're running around with Plague Bearer and Withering Step, everything's going to have Wither on it. And when you're hitting a boss, you're constantly applying Divergent Poison Concoction applies with the stacks every time you hit the mob, essentially, because we're getting overlaps. It's going to be crazy. So I suggest running those. Now, as for damage, people said, how are we going to scale our damage? And why do we use GMP and Greater Volley? Now, the best way to explain this is if we had no supports that give us more projectiles on the skill, we could only hit the mob once, which means, let's say we do 1,000,000 damage per poison. Obviously, every time you hit the mob, you're doing 1,000,000 DPS of poison with 1 click. If we put GMP in and it adds 4 projectiles, now we have 5, and 3 of them overlap. You're clicking once, but you're doing 3,000,000 DPS now because 3 of your bottles are landing on the enemy. And then if we do Greater Volley, we have, 9 projectiles, and 5 of them overlap, which is realistic. You're doing 5,000,000 damage with 1 click. So that's the reasoning. And then eventually we'll go for a Dying Sun as well and hopefully get another 1, maybe 2 overlaps, and you just get an extra 2,000,000 damage on those calculations. I know that's not the exact numbers, but you get the idea. So that's why they're our biggest DPS increase by far for clear and for single target. It's just unreal. Now people asking about which flasks we're running. I have decided to run a Jade Flask because these mobs hit really hard in Scourge. Initially, I thought I can run more damage, but right now I'm running a Jade, and it puts me at like a really healthy amount of evasion, and we end up being like 85% evasion. Obviously, bear in mind, this is the PoB I'm aiming for, so my character isn't exactly like this, and some of the gear in here, like these jewels, before people critique me, because this happens, these jewels are expensive and ridiculous. I'm putting the mods in there that we want to look for. You're not necessarily going to have all these mods. But as for, let's just go back to Flask for a sec. So obviously you want to run a saturated Divine Flask because it scales our Poison Concoction. It's the most we can get. You want to up it to 26% quality. That's fine. This one isn't, but that's what you want to do. Dying Sun is going to be best in slot, I think. I don't think you can beat it. We'll have to suss it out when we get one. I don't have one yet. Alchemist Quicksilver, I will never give it up. I want to be fast, so that's the best. Enduring Eternal Mana Flask. Now, we do need the Enduring right now. We want to sustain mana. And what happens with Enduring is when your mana's full, the Flask effect doesn't run out, which means we always have those bonuses that we get from Pathfinder, where it says poison during Flask effect, you know, all those things. That keeps those conditions ticked. So those are my flasks right now. You can run silver, you can run onslaught if you want. I mean, onslaught flask, silver flask, or you can run a sulfur if you want. But on my actual tree right now, I have grabbed Graceful Assault, which has just given me, so I've actually come down here, grabbed these three. I pretty much always have onslaught. We grab this node, which gives us phasing on kill. I have phasing on onslaught when I'm mobbing, which right now I'm just doing lots of maps, so easy. Obviously, it's not on this tree, but I have put it on the recommended starter trees. It's just not on the end game max cluster tree, which is what I'm coming to for my next point. It seems like this is still going to be our best in slot option late game for massive single target. Once again, you do not need this for mapping. You likely won't even feel the increase in damage from 5 to 10 mil when you're mapping, but you will on bosses. So if you're going to go for Giga Dam, there'll be more ways to scale this, but right now I'm sitting at 10 million with good gear, not insane gear, good gear. Dual cluster setup. I'll put this pop up afterwards. Okay, next part. Biggest DPS increase once you have your basic items like your in presence and your flask and obviously your gem levels, yeah, those things will be jewels. On the jewels, you really want multi over time rolls. So if you can get one of those two rolls and life, that's really nice. That's what I would look for. They give us a nice percentage, like 5% damage each, roughly. On to the next thing. People ask about defense all the time. Why am I getting one hit? Scourge is hectic. What stacks can you get up to? So I've got really average gear. You can look at my profile right now. I've got self-found crappy gear. I've just been res capped and I've bought the Dendrobate. The important part here is not stopping. You have to keep moving with this build. We're an evasion build. Don't get hit extra times. It's playing the dice every time we get hit. It's rolling and we hope it rolls evade. Obviously, we do have some other layers as well, but that's the main thing. Don't stop moving. We die if we stop. If you do die a lot and you've got damage flask, try Jade Flask. It adds a lot. It's on me, it's 10% evade. It changes as you scale, but let's just say around 10% is a lot. Next part is use Plague Bearer a lot. When you're using Plague Bearer, it actually starts to tick mobs down before you get to them. So it's like kind of killing them in advance, and some of the weaker ones it'll kill straight away. And shoot ahead, like all the time. Just shoot like a bottle in front of you every couple of seconds. Like it just protects you a little bit. That's just the play style here. The most important part on our stat sheet though is to make sure you have 100% spell suppression. So we take 50% less spell damage and a lot of evasion. We need evasion on all our pieces of gear. So that we have a lot of evasion. That's pretty much the video, guys. I just want to give some updates. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all the subs and stuff. Click like if this video helped you, and feel free to drop by the Discord or the stream anytime if you want to ask questions. Appreciate you guys heaps. Enjoy the build. Peace.